Okay, this is my work in progress video for the Master Grade Gundam XN Riser, or 00XN Riser, or something. Anyway, this kit is gigantic. I built the Master Grade 007 Sword version way back when it first came out, and I think that was 2011 maybe. And I've never built the 00 Riser or obviously the XN Riser, but this thing is massive. This is the most ridiculous, gigantic backpack I've ever seen. And that's saying something because, Gundam Seed exists. But this is enormous. It even comes with a little stand down here because they know there is absolutely no way this thing can possibly stand up without a stand. And it's gigantic and ridiculous, but it is kind of cool looking. I like the 00 Gundam design. Preferably I like it without all the backpacks and stuff. It's nice by itself. But anyway, this is a commission kit. Someone has paid me to build and paint this, and they wanted a custom color scheme. So it's not going to be in the original colors. I am going to do a custom colors on this guy. No weathering. It's just going to be a clean paint job with panel lines and decals and stuff. So should be pretty straightforward and not a whole lot of seam lines. In fact, a lot of the seam lines that would have been on this kit, Bandai has hidden with panel lines, like here on the XN Sword. They've done that in quite a few places. So I think I noticed maybe one or two small seam lines, and that was it. There was a seam line on this guy, this big beam effect part for the GN Sword 3. I already cemented that in place, and that's holding together really well. So I guess now it is time for disassembling this guy and get started with the painting. Okay, so like I said, doing a custom color scheme on this. The customer that I'm painting this for said he wanted something kind of similar to the same colors as Heavy Arms Custom, but a little more dull and grayed out, and not like in the same combination as Heavy Arms. So basically what I did is I made a kind of a dull blue-green color, best way to describe it, for all the white parts on the XN riser, and used that, just did a little bit of pre-shading and a little bit of highlighting. So got that done. Turned out pretty snazzy, I think. I like it. It's definitely going to be a unique color scheme, that is for sure. Not standard Gundam colors by any stretch of the imagination. And then for the blue parts, I used a dark blue. Basically, I did like a midnight blue, almost black, and then highlighted it with some of that same dull blue-green color. And so it still got kind of that same flavor as the blue-green, but a whole lot darker. And I think that turned out pretty nice as well. There's the shield right there. And I threw in a few other colors. Like I've got some kind of purplish blue colors. This is actually a Gaia Notes paint that I had. It's called Million Blue. But it's, if I can pick this part up, it's a really nice purplish blue color. Very, very good. I used that for the red parts. And the little jewel on the forehead on the V-fin was clear red. Obviously, it was going to be really hard to repaint that. So I just went ahead and put a coat of primer on it and painted it that same Million Blue as all the other red parts. Did throw in a little bit of, I don't even want to say white, it's like off-white. Basically, I used white, but I pre-shaded it with this blue-green color, and it came out to a nice, almost sort of a really light mint green color, almost white, but not quite. And again, I think it just matches really well to the color scheme. Didn't do a lot of that, just the thighs and the biceps, the collar, and then the little part of the V-fin there. Also, the chest vents I did in that same color. All the yellow parts, basically, and then the thighs and biceps. And for the all the inner frame and joint parts, I used gunmetal. I used two different shades of gunmetal. I painted the inner frame first, and you can kind of see the two different shades. Like here, these two circular parts are a different shade than the rest of the leg. It's a little bit apparent there. You kind of have to look at it for a second to tell that it actually is two different shades. But when I got around to doing the weapons and the O-riser and the XN parts, I adjusted the colors a little bit, and it came out a whole lot nicer. Now it's definitely noticeably two different shades. And the main darker gunmetal is just black and Mr. Metal Color aluminum. And this almost kind of a bronze champagne gunmetal sort of color is the same as this original darker gunmetal. I just added a little bit of brass paint to it and lightened it up and gave it that sort of warm tone, and I'm really happy with that. I've saved that color in a bottle, and I'm definitely going to be using that again in the future because I really like the way that turned out. So yeah, that's basically just an overview of the color scheme. I wanted to talk about it before I got around to doing all the panel lining and decals and stuff. Alright, so moving on to panel lines. Since I'm not weathering this kit, I'm just doing a pin wash for the panel lines. Got the Mr. Weathering color, small paintbrush, and just letting the capillary action take care of all the work. And I want to try experimenting with the oil paints doing this, and we'll try some different colors, because most of the time I just panel line with black or brown or gray. But like on the Wing Zero, where I use the purple for the wings, I want to experiment a little bit with that in the future and try doing some different colors for panel lines. Anyway, so get all that done, wipe away the excess. Actually, I think I wiped a little bit too much away. Maybe I can redo that. Got ahead of myself, I didn't let it dry. It's best to, when you're doing an oil wash for panel lines, let it dry for a few minutes. I don't know what I was thinking just then. So, like, here's a part that has been drying for several minutes. Just wipe away those old dots where I use the brush, and you're left with some nice, thin, crisp panel lines. Alright, so I'm about to start on the decals for this kit. Now, ran into a little bit of an issue. This kit actually comes with all three types of decals and stickers. The Master Grade 00 Riser part of the kit comes with the original clear stickers, foil stickers, and dry transfers. And then we get water slides just for the XN parts, for the P-Bandai portion of the kit. Unfortunately, this is one of those Master Grades, 00 Riser, rather, is one of those Master Grades that Bandai never made a water slide decal set for. They got water slides for the 1/100 scale no grade 00 Riser, which I can't find in stock anywhere at the moment. They make decals for the perfect grade 00 Riser, real grade 00 Riser, but not the Master Grade. So, I don't like using clear stickers. Dry transfers I don't have a problem with, but these things, you can see the edge is too easy, and I just don't like using them. But there's a solution. A new, well, I guess new-ish decal maker out of China, DL model decal. This is the first time I've bought any DL model decals, and from people who I've talked to, said that they're actually pretty decent quality. They're all pre-cut. They look to be printed relatively well, better than some other Chinese decals I've bought in the past. And let's see if I can zoom in on this so you can just see some of the printing. So you can see that they're all pre-cut, and the printing is pretty sharp. Maybe not quite as sharp and crisp as Bandai's, but still pretty darn good. So I think these should work out fairly well, and this is for XN riser. So this has got all the XN decals, which actually we already have, plus it's got all the 00 riser decals on there as well. Now I may change things up a little bit since I'm doing such a dark color scheme. I can obviously still use all of the white decals, but some of these blue decals I may change up for some third-party white decals, because I'm afraid they won't show up all that well on this kind of dark bluish green color, but we'll see. Alright, so these DL model decals actually seem to be working out pretty well. Just adding the shield decals here. Slide that on like so. Work out the air bubbles underneath. And I'm actually very, very happy with these. They look really sharp and crisp. The ink is nice and opaque. And yeah, pretty good stuff. Definitely gonna end up probably getting some more of these in the future, because I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but I think Samuel Decal is gonna stop making decals, or at least custom printed decals or something. I don't know. He wasn't really clear about it, but I think he's gonna stick mainly to selling P Bandai kits from here on out. So that's one of our decal sources that's going to be a bit more limited now in the future. Finally got the Master Grade XN riser finished, and this thing is extremely back heavy. I'm really glad they included this stand with the kit. I'm actually kind of scared to take photos of this kit later on, because I can just imagine this thing being a paint scratch nightmare, so you have to be really, really careful while doing that. But hopefully maybe like an action base or something will keep some of that from happening, maybe increase the stability. So here is the color scheme all put together. It's a very non-traditional Gundam color scheme. Got the blue-green color and then the dark blue. I really like this purplish lavender color. I think that really pops out nicely in a few places where all the red parts used to be. Also, I'm really glad that I included this really light, almost white color in there too. That really brightens it up, because without that, the color scheme just seemed too dark. So I'm really glad that that got put in there. The gunmetal colors for the inner frame all turned out really, really good. So happy with those. The clear parts, I just left clear green, just the stock color, because that ended up working really well with the overall color scheme. Although on the back of the O-riser here, they gave us two parts. The original canopy for the O-riser is clear orange, but they gave us a clear one for the movie version, and I repainted that the same blue-green as all the other little GN condensers on the kit, so I think that meshed a lot better with the color scheme than that orange would have. That orange would have clashed a little bit too much, actually a lot too much. So, little pilot figures here. I didn't actually show myself painting these, but I did get those done. Little Saji Crossroad, Setsuna FCA, and then the sitting versions. So, all in all, very happy. The DL model decals that I got worked out very, very nicely. They look great, actually. And some of the blue ones I actually was able to use on this this blue-green color. They showed up fine. And some of them I did replace with white decals, but overall I think everything turned out looking alright. So, that does it. Uh-oh, the stand just came off. That does it for this project, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.